a question that needs answering. And feel free to comment below what you think, okay? But do rappers hate women? Okay? That's a question, because all of the music that comes out is talking about, tricking and doing all this kind of stuff, and no judgment to people in that lifestyle. However, is that what we want to project to the youth? And how come like all the mainstream music is like that? It would be one thing if there were artists or creatives, whatever, that in their specific niche that were at the top of the whatever. But to have all of what you could classify, I guess, as hip hop all saying the same thing, it's kind of like, what? Like, even songs that are pro, you could say pro, the people, call women bees and rude things. So sometimes I just wonder, like, is it, do people really, like, do rappers hate women? Like, I really think that they hate women. And it's mainly because all the music, the songs that are popping and out there and that everybody are saying are about how women are, like, you should pop that and do this thing. And it's just kind of like, what are we teaching the youth with these songs? And so I just come to the determination that they hate women. And the individual as a person might say, oh, I don't, but then answer, why are you making this type of music? Instead of promoting like love of women and saying like, I love a woman and I'll treat her correctly, or she's amazing, give her some kind of props. And I'm talking about women too. Like, it's always like, she thinks she this, but I'm better. Okay, she thinks she this, but I'm wetter, or something like that. And how come, like, why is it always divisiveness and competition? And I get it, if there's some music like that, fine, but why is all the mainstream music like that? It doesn't make sense in terms of being a positive thing for the collective, because it's not just a black thing. Like, music is not color based. All types of people like music. And so, but it does seem like it's targeted at the black demographic. But it's not just us, it's collectively just kind of foul. And I just wonder, how did we get here? Like, what's the point of this? So I just thought I'd ask, like, do you guys think rappers hate women? I think that they like to, use women, and what I'm saying? They like to get down, but it doesn't seem like they actually like women. It doesn't seem like they like men either, because and I'm not talking about like to use men, but they'll always be talking about like, oh, shoot him, take his money, and then take his B, or I'm better than you. Why is it such competition in the music? No unity and bringing together. And like I said, I know that there are some artists out there, but they're not the popular ones. They're not the ones at the awards. They're like underground. And maybe that's for the best, to be quite frank. But it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to me. And it just makes me think like, okay, y'all must hate women. And then if they say, okay, well, I don't write my own music. Okay, but you're promoting it. And then, okay, well, if it wouldn't be me, it would be someone else. But now you have an audience, can't you? Like, and I don't know what's going on behind the scenes to say like, what they have on people or whatever, but is it worth it? Like, do you sleep well at night knowing that the music you are that claims to be you, then, if you didn't write it, the music that you are sending out to the youth, do you feel okay knowing that it's destroying them? Like, how do you sleep at night knowing that you are purposely destroying the youth? I don't know. I don't know. But also, they are resilient, and they can recognize, like, okay, this isn't good. But there's some out there who won't. And repetition, because they're on like these different platforms, and there's repetition happening. So even if they're not like listening to it directly, they're receiving that information. They're receiving it. So it's kind of like why do y'all hate that? Like, do y'all hate young people too? Because you want them to go to jail. You want them to sell drugs. Because, the way that the mind works is the more that you hear something, it starts to program you. So even if you would not, you're more likely to do stuff because it's being programmed into you. So it makes me wonder, like, and a lot of these people in these positions, like, they know that. And then we got like children, like 1-year-olds listening to this nonsense. And just because someone else's parent did it doesn't make it right. You got babies listening to F my baby daddy. I mean, you got here from a man. Like, do they hate fathers too? Do they hate men? Like, what is going on here? This is just the first video. I'm gonna make some more about this. Okay? Because, and like I said, this is nothing against these people individually, but it's like, have you thought about this kind of thing? Like, do you know you're doing this? Has it crossed your mind? Like, do you feel good when you see a little baby dancing to your music? Or do you turn your music off when your child comes around? And then people could say, like, you could say all you want. You can deny all you want that the music isn't meant for children, but you would just be lying to yourself. You would be lying. It's meant for everyone to consume, but especially meant for the youth. Anything done now is meant for the youth because they're the next group that are going to inherit whatever is left. So to sit up here and lie when they have rappers and stuff being featured in children's cartoons and children's shows, you can't tell me that it's not meant for the youth. And how young is the youth? Because a lot of people say, oh, well, it's not meant for the youth. Are you young too? Are you a teenager talking about the youth don't listen to this? You're a teenager. You're young. You're the youth, boo-boo. You are the youth. So if you're watching it, you are the youth. And they be having like young girls in the videos and stuff. Like, you mean to tell me that that's not meant for the youth? Come on. Really? Like, and yes, we have a responsibility to ourselves, but like, some people, for whatever reason, aren't there yet, and it's just a question. Like, do you hate women? I would like to, interview a rapper and like get your opinion. Like, if you make that type of music, why? And it's like, because it's mainstream, it's what will get me a deal. Okay. But like, it's like hurting people. So I don't know. It's just interesting. And I'm not judging them, but I'm curious. Like, have you thought about the impact and the implication of what you're creating? And like, if you're singing those things, it just makes me wonder, like, what happens behind closed doors? If y'all do this stuff publicly, this is what you put out, like, what is happening behind closed doors? And like, are you guys okay? Because they all start out looking so alive, and then like later on they're just kind of like this. And there's no passion in the music. Like, there's no passion behind the voice. It sounds forced a lot of the times, because if you listen to like older music, like the 60s and 70s, and listen, I'm not saying that they were not doing some fugazi stuff, because we didn't get here overnight. There was an evolution of this nonsense to where we are today. So they had some weird music back then too. Like this one lady who said her nips are as big as like rocks or something like that. And then another man was talking about like kitty cat and licking and stuff. So let's not pretend that. And they had like them tassels. They would like do like this, and their stuff would just boop 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 with a little tassel, or just flat out. So don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Don't misinterpret. But what I am saying is that perhaps there's something going on here. And though, like the voices back then, with the songs, you could hear in their voice passion. Like you can hear when a rapper is passionate and when they are just a performer or when they're being forced. You can hear it in the voice because it just don't hit the same way. You feel me? And I don't know. It makes me just think, okay, well, maybe they just hate women then. Maybe it's something there. And I'm not here to judge them, but I just wonder, like, are we even as a collective, like if you listen to it, are you aware of what you're listening to? Because like once you learn more about the mind, and that like what you listen to really does reflect what you experience, then you start to think, well, maybe I want to change this. And a lot of this music is probably, I would say, if I could guess who would fund this and who would profit the most, it would be the prison system and the OnlyFans system. They are profiting. So people that probably are invested heavily in private prisons are probably heavily invested in the music industry because it's a funnel. They're probably heavily invested or have ties also to school systems because that's how this thing would move. And that's just my hypothesis. Okay. I'm not saying that that's what's going on, but logically speaking, if the music is talking about, prostitution, and you do prostitution in the US, for the most part, it's illegal. So you could end up in jail. So it's music that is, if you do what the music says, you're going to end up incarcerated. And who would benefit from that? Whoever's creating those private prisons and whoever's products are manufactured in prisons. Those are the beings that are profiting off that. And so that's who these artists are representing. And when you put your music out there, whatever level you're on, and it is about certain things, and then you could say, oh, it's about my life, but is it about the fact that doing that can get you incarcerated and how many people have passed away because they enter that type of lifestyle, or is it glorifying it? Because you can talk about your life and not glorify things that are detrimental to anyone who does it. And so it's not to judge them once again, because I'm just asking the question. But it is just like, I'm curious, is what's going on here? So at the end of the day, we just have to think about that and recognize that, okay, what we listen to does impact our reality. It absolutely does. So maybe instead of listening to this murder music and this stuff, maybe I'll listen to something else and I'll see a difference in my life. Even like the drama. I've noticed changes in my life since I started changing the music that I'm listening to, because I started wondering, do rappers hate women? And should I be listening to something that is hating me? Probably not. And my life has started to change, and I'm a lot more peaceful. I'm a lot more relaxed since I changed the music that I listen to. So you might want to consider it.